Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our second webinar on NFTs. It's our NFT Masterclass Part 2. And I'm very happy to welcome you all to this webinar. Again, it's only for our members of FINTECH Circle. And my name is Suzanne Chisti. As you know, I'm the CEO and the founder of FINTECH Circle. And I welcome you all and thank you for joining us today to listen to a very, very famous and expert speaker, a fintech leader, and also an NFT expert, and also an artist. So her name is Gaia Chandrasekaran, and Gaia is the vice president of the Global Digital Solutions Group at Santander Corporate Investment Banking. And she has got a master's in finance from the London Business School, and also is the head of the personal excellence program at Women in Banking and Finance. So if I can ask Gaia to join me, please, on stage, so to say. Gaia, welcome, and it's a pleasure to have you with us, and having to really be our guest speaker and our expert in residence for our non-fungible token masterclass. And for those of you who've missed the first webinar with Gaia a few weeks ago, Gaia will do an introduction, give you an overview of what we talked about in the first session before deep diving into the session today, which is all about how to actually do it. So it's very practical. We will learn, and Gaia will teach you how to actually mint your own NFTs in practice, and what are the tips, how to do this in the best possible way, and also in a safe way, just to ensure that you are aware, of risks in order to protect your money and protect your both your fiat currencies, but also your cryptocurrencies in your digital wallet. So we'll talk about that in more detail. But now let me hand over to Gaia.
Thanks, Suzanne. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back, and thank you so much for joining us today. Just give me a second. I'm trying to open the slides. Okay. Sorry, it's the end. Need to swing back to the beginning. I'm really excited to be here. Can't wait for the live demo of, I don't know why it's gone back to the end again. Sorry. I think it'll be really good to do a quick recap of what was covered in part 1 for those who couldn't attend part 1 before diving into part 2. So in part 1, we basically discussed the definition and attributes, categories of NFTs through 4 use cases, as well as non-digital examples of fungible and non-fungible assets. I gave an overview of my background, my journey as an artist, as well as a little bit about my NFTs and what inspired me to go down that path. For the benefit of those that did not attend part 1 again, I'm a thematic artist exploring different mediums. I've worked with oil, acrylics, watercolors, and charcoals. Some of my artworks are in the slide now, on the screen now. My choice of themes are based on key life moments. I was influenced by art right from my childhood, and I've undergone formal training in India as well as in the UK from Slade School of Art in 2014 and 15. And I've always found the pursuit of creativity to be a consistently uplifting journey. So in terms of my art CV, I've hosted a solo exhibition in 2018. And then I won a special commendation from a world-renowned conservation organization in 2019 of one of my paintings. And I was a chosen speaker at the LBS Artist Panel in 2021. I got inspired by Beeple's 5,000 Days, and I minted my first NFTs in October 21. And it was basically a set of acrylic paintings that I made under the theme of quest. Like, I was trying to understand why I behave in a certain way, etc. I just dipped into the zodiac signs for a little bit of inspiration for self-awareness. And so I had 12 zodiac signs in acrylics, which I just converted them, the physical artworks, into a digital image, and then I minted my NFTs. Then later on, I made another set of 12 zodiacs with different media. So I used watercolors to give it stained glass effect and gold flakes as well. So these are all, like I mentioned, digital images of physical artworks. But in the near future, I've just joined a course on Procreate. So I'm hoping to sort of go purely digital and explore that side a little bit. So if you asked me why NFTs, like many people have asked me why NFTs, I'd say like three key things, So NFTs straddle both my passion as well as my professional interest. Like Susan mentioned, I'm in the fintech side with Santander, corporate and investment banking. And the second one is I'm still navigating the space, but I do believe it's an additional platform for artists to sell their artworks. And then the third reason is it remains a key source of royalty from secondary sales for creators, right? So this does not exist in the physical format for most artists. So that's like a driving force as well behind why NFTs for me. And also NFTs have such a wide scope and application for the future that it might just open up additional avenues for income, like income prospects, or in terms of expanding reach or visibility as well for artists. So it's got a huge scope, it's got a huge future, but yeah, I think it'll take time to sort of mature. It's still quite nascent. So now I mean, in this slide, you just see a little bit of my profile on OpenSea. We'll be doing a deep dive into this when I actually show you the live minting, but just to give you an idea. So I have three collections, and then like the one on Crypto Rebirth, the first one are the two artworks. Then you have three from Crypto Zodiac #1, and then you have another three from Crypto Zodiac series. So that gives you some idea. And this is just like I just have part 1 slides here just so that it sort of gives you some context for those that did not attend the first masterclass. And then we now get into the contents of the second masterclass, right? So in part 2, I'd like to walk you through the steps involved in buying NFTs, creating and or selling NFTs, securing your portfolio, the NFT applications in general, as well as specifically in relation to finance. So there we'll be doing a little bit of deep dive in terms of applications in finance. And then finally, we jump into a live minting session where I will show you how to create NFTs from art. So let's move on to the steps involved in buying NFTs. So there are 4 main steps. We have the first step is you need to buy cryptos. Then you have to create a wallet. Then you choose NFTs on the marketplace, and then you just buy them, right? So how do you buy cryptos? You create an account on one of the platforms or exchanges, and you fund the account using your bank card or via bank transfer. And once the funds reach your account, you can buy cryptocurrency of choice to purchase NFTs. And cryptocurrencies dealt with, they actually vary based on platforms. So if you take the top 3 crypto exchanges, you have Coinbase, and Coinbase deals with over 3,000 cryptos. And then you have Next, which is crypto.com, which is the second one, and that deals with over 250 cryptocurrencies. And then you have Binance, which deals with over 100. So these are the 3 top crypto exchanges. My account is with the Coinbase, just like FYI. And the next step is when the setup is complete in terms of your wallet address, and you've loaded your the custodial wallet with your cryptocurrencies, what you have to do is you need to open a non-custodial wallet. And this non-custodial wallet is a software wallet which you will link to the NFT marketplace. Like, we'll see all of that a bit later, but like I use MetaMask, for instance. So it's basically a plugin on your browser, and then once you install it, it will guide you through the installation process. So it's quite user friendly that way. So just like a point of interest, you have a secret recovery phrase. If you go with MetaMask, you have a secret recovery phrase, and this is like a set of 12 random words which make no sense. So it's really incredibly hard to remember them. So we need to keep them safe, because if you ever lose your password, like you have a password and then you have a secret recovery phrase, right? So if you lose your password, you forget your password, then even to reset the password, it'll ask you to key in those 12 words that make no sense. So you need to keep them safe. Then moving on to step 3, you have to then browse for NFTs of interest. And there are like so many marketplaces. You have OpenSea, you have Rarible, you have Foundation, you have Showtime. The first one is Showtime here, the logo. And then Foundation, however, for buying NFTs is fine. But if you want to sell NFTs on Showtime, you need to be invited by somebody who's already sold on Foundation. So different marketplaces, different dynamics. So the best known is undoubtedly OpenSea. And once on OpenSea, you just simply connect your wallet, which is the MetaMask wallet, your Web3 plugin, and then you navigate to the marketplace to identify the NFT you wish to purchase. So I'll just do a little bit of demo before I create NFTs. I'll just show you how to browse around OpenSea, just out of curiosity for all of you. And then you pick the NFT of interest, and then you place your bids for the NFT following the marketplace rules. So like there are two types, right? You can buy an NFT for a fixed price if that's the way the NFT is being sold, or some of the NFTs are being auctioned. So then you can place your bid, and if you're one of the highest bidders, then you will sort of successfully purchase the NFT. Otherwise, it goes to the highest bidder, obviously. So that's the way it works. So four simple steps for buying NFTs. And I hope it's clear. If you have any questions, then we can discuss them towards the end of the session. So I'm moving on to the next slide, which is about creating or selling NFTs. I think we saw this briefly in part 1, where we said that NFTs are mainly created through marketplaces, but not only through marketplaces, right? So there are other ways to mint NFTs without going through marketplaces, and that is through the use of direct coding. You have these program languages like JavaScript and Solidity. Solidity is specifically a language used on the blockchain. So these are like this is the method by which the blockchain technology companies that come up with projects of 10,000 NFTs, etc., they mint or create their NFTs through this method. They deploy the code directly into the web, and then secondary sales happen through marketplaces. But primarily they don't necessarily have to go through marketplaces. They have their own website, and the airdrop happens through there. So let's look at the main steps now in creating or selling NFTs. There are 4 key steps. So you open a marketplace account, you buy the cryptos and buy cryptos, create a wallet. Then you have to choose the marketplace wherever you want to create or mint your NFTs. And then sorry, there's a typo there. It says buying or making an offer. It should be selling NFTs, like listing and selling NFTs. So the first one is you open an account with a popular NFT marketplace. So you have many. You have OpenSea, Rarible, like we discussed in the previous slide. Then you have the MetaMask wallet, like we again discussed. You just have to load your MetaMask wallet with cryptos, and then you connect it to your marketplace. So once you're in the marketplace, then you just have to finalize your content, either a video or an audio clipping or an image, for upload to your account. And then you pay the required amount to the marketplace to create or mint your NFT. And then so this required amount is nothing but the transaction fees, which is also called the gas fees. And I've got one slide at a later stage for us to go through that in detail, because it's slightly confusing, but once you see the slide and the dynamics, then you understand it a little bit better. But in a sense, it's just a transaction fee you pay to the blockchain for sort of creating and storing your asset on the blockchain, if that makes sense. And so the next step is selling your NFT. So once you finalize your content and you upload it to your account, you have to choose list NFT for sale. And then once it's listed, then buyers can bid on your NFTs, or they can just outright buy it if you've created like a fixed price sort of sale point for your item. And then once the sale happens, you automatically get the funds into your wallet. And then for any subsequent sales, which is the secondary sale, it'll ask you for the percentage for royalty, like I mentioned, right? One of my key motivations for choosing NFT as a platform for artists. So you can choose 2.5%, 5%, 10%. I think most artists choose maybe 5 to 10, somewhere between 5 and 10%. So I've chosen 10%. And then I think there's like a 15-day period after the secondary sale happens, and then the marketplace OpenSea will credit you with 10% of the second time your item sold. So that's the royalty dynamic, how it works. And you'll get an email notification saying that your wallet has been credited with X amount, which represents your royalty from the secondary sale of your item. So that hopefully covers the creating minting part. So this is what we will be doing a live demo of, but this is just high level steps. I will anyway walk you through each of those steps. And I have a slide that covers those steps in detail as well, which will be part of the slide deck, which you can sort of use for reference after the masterclass. So I saw this post by this person who works for Coinbase, and he sort of just put this in a kind of an algorithmic way in terms of how can you secure your wallet, right? So this, if you follow this method, it will help you tackle issues of fraud and scam, which is associated with a highly unregulated space such as DeFi and NFTs. So how can you secure your portfolio? I think now is the right time to discuss the concepts of hot wallets and cold wallet. So a hot wallet is the one that you use to mint your NFTs, and it interacts with contracts. So what happens is it's technically exposed to vulnerabilities because it's plugged into the web, so it's exposed to vulnerabilities. And because it's exposed to vulnerabilities, it's obviously likely to be compromised, right? So take MetaMask wallet, that's a hot wallet. It's likely to be compromised because any operation from that wallet requires you to be connected to the internet and to the marketplace. So I hope that gives some context. And you will have only the necessary money to mint or buy an NFT in this wallet in specific periods of time. So the idea is to have minimum amount in your hot wallet, right? Because that's the one that's most exposed. So then you don't want to store here important assets. So then what exactly would you do with the extra funds or the extra assets that you have attached to your hot wallet? So what you need to do is you move these assets into a cold wallet. Like there are you can have two cold wallets. Let's say cold wallet 1. So cold wallet 1 is where you will list the item for sale. So you don't interact with anything else here than a trusted marketplace where the only objective is selling your NFTs. So you hold your NFTs that you want to sell in the cold wallet, and then you plug it into the marketplace, but only when you want to sell it. And then if you're not planning to sell your asset immediately but are expecting to hold it long term, then you move them into a cold wallet 2, which is in the diagram. If you say, it says vault second ledger in out transaction only, right? So this is basically a wallet that you don't use to interact with anything else. It's sort of you hold your asset, only the asset, and you move it to the cold wallet 1. When you're planning on selling it, you move it to cold wallet 1. So it's the safest form of a wallet, and this is likely to provide protection against most kinds of fraud. And then there's also this concept of cryptocurrency insurance to protect your digital wallet against a cyber attack, such as loss from theft or lost access or any form of malicious attack of the wallet itself. So this cover is designed for money held in hot wallets, cryptos held online in accounts that remain connected to the internet. So this is a cover that's designed for those type of wallets. And but then if you think about it, common sense approach, paying premium may only be worth it if you have like substantial amounts parked in the cryptos. I mean, sorry, parked in cryptos. Like if you see my MetaMask wallet, it has 0.5 Ethereum. Like there's no sense in taking a insurance for just like half an Ethereum, right? Because the premium will more than make up for the value that you actually hold in your wallet. So hope you find this useful. This is because in part 1 we discussed a lot of scams, fraud, phishing, pumping and dumping, those kind of concepts. This just helps you to navigate that landscape where you can keep your portfolio secure and you can ensure that it's you're taking all precautions within your whatever you can within your constraints to ensure that you don't lose anything of value to you. So then moving into the NFT applications. So we have a set of general applications and then we have specific applications in finance. So I'm just going to skim through the general applications. So they are listed in the slide and they include digital identity, gaming, marketing, name, service and domains, real estate, sports, entertainment, digital art, fashion. I think some of these we also explored under the categories when we did the masterclass part 1. So it's just kind of it sort of overlaps, so those categories also are applications in general. And then you have finance. So I'd like to spend a little bit of time on applications in finance. I'll just give you a high level overview of each one of these applications, and then it's only meant to sort of give you an idea of what are the applications in finance for NFTs. And it seems to be a constantly expanding sort of domain as well, but not to confuse you in terms of the nitty gritty. So if you want to further research each of these topics, then I would suggest the best place is to probably just Google it. But for the purpose of the masterclass today, we're just going to see at a high level what each of these concepts mean. Hope that makes sense. So let's look at investments first, right? So, applications in finance include investments, crowdfunding, tokenization, virtual real estate, fractionalization, staking, and then you have NFT lending, NFT-backed loans, and collateralization. All these three sort of in some shape or form mean the same thing, unless I'm terribly mistaken. But I think they do mean the same thing. So let's just explore each one of this in detail. As far as investments go, NFTs are being used as a personal alternative investment by people that include digital assets in their portfolio, varying from digital art, collectibles, in-game assets, music, sports card, and utility tokens. So these categories open to a new world of investment, since for the first time you can actually own a piece of the web or content from your favorite creator. And this allows investors to invest in creators as well. So if a creator is anyone using creativity to produce something new, and culture is the history of human creativity, then you end up investing in culture, right? When you're investing in NFTs. So that's one angle. And then you have leading ventures that have also validated the NFT industry by investing in some of the best apps and platforms. So you have the largest marketplace, which is OpenSea, which is backed by Andreessen Horowitz. And another major firm investing massively in the NFT industry is Coinbase Ventures, which is funding some of the flagship projects such as Dapper Labs. So we saw Dapper Labs last in part 1 when we spoke about NBA Top Shot, which is a sports collectible, and then CryptoKitties. And then we move on to crowdfunding, which is the next one. So there's a documentary film about the history of Ethereum. Not sure how many of you have heard of it or have seen it. It's called The Infinite Garden. And this documentary was entirely financed by a crypto crowdfunding campaign. So thanks to the tool created by Mirror, they were able to raise around 3 million in 24 hours. And how was it possible? It was possible because of the incentives that NFTs provided to top contributors. So investors received exclusive NFTs and on-screen film credits based on their ranking in the crowdfunding leaderboard. And there's a video game called Parallel. So these are, gaming enthusiasts obviously will be all over this. So Parallel again is another example of using NFTs for crowdfunding. So the team behind the game created NFTs as an in-game asset to be sold to the community before the launch. So they used revenues to fund the game development from the concept through to the beta version of user testing. And then NFT buyers then will be able to use their NFTs in the game once it's ready and it goes live, allowing early investors access to some exclusive features. So that's again an application of NFT, right? You have exclusivity, or you're part of an exclusive club, or you get some preferential benefits if you're an early adopter. So that's about crowdfunding. And then you have tokenization of real world assets. So this is interesting. Like NFTs could have a major impact on finance and fintech by tokenizing a wide range of assets. So what exactly is tokenization? So what does it mean, right? Tokenization involves converting assets in its physical world into tokens that exist digitally on a blockchain. So assets are tokenized to distribute them digitally to owners or investors. Owning a token that represents an asset equates to owning a share of the asset. That makes sense, right? So tokenization essentially it allows for both fractional ownership as well as proof of ownership. And then from traditional assets like venture capital funds, bonds, commodities, artworks, race horses, etc., they you can tokenize almost anything. Like from traditional assets to some more sort of exotic assets, you can tokenize almost anything. And what are the benefits of tokenization? So you have benefits of tokenization from an asset owner's perspective as well as from like both investors' perspective and asset owners' perspective. It's kind of similar. So you have increased liquidity, you have sort of guarantee of fair prices, then you have reduced management costs. Of course, liquidity and fractional ownership sort of go hand in hand. Then you have transparency and secure identity, right? Anything on a blockchain, there's sort of security, transparency, etc. So um, now NFTs are on the verge of, because of the tokenization aspect, right? So NFTs are on the verge of completely revolutionizing trade finance and global commerce. So trade finance instruments such as investment notes, fixed income products, etc., they can securely move along the blockchain in a manner that brings transparency, facilitates seamless settlement, and extends liquidity. So at the same time, smart contracts eliminate intermediaries. So that's the whole concept of decentralized finance, right? DeFi. They reduce counterparty risk and they preserve the integrity of deliverables. So we're talking about a new class of financial assets, as well as a significant overhaul to almost every payment system, financial service, as well as supply chain in the world. So this has like massive scope. I mean, I've not done a deep dive into this. I've understood that there is massive scope, but we can obviously do deep dives into this area, because that means there will be job opportunities, there will be opportunities to improve efficiency, operational efficiency, which then translates into more profitability, etc., right? So um so yeah, I mean, it's definitely out there, but it's not taken off yet, like in big ways. It is sort of, it will take off soon. So that's the message. And then when we move on to the next one, which is virtual real estate, then you must be wondering, well, I've wondered this, like, who buys virtual real estate? Like, people can hardly sort of, they have to plan for years to actually buy a physical home in places like London, right? So who buys virtual real estate? So, but then the answer is, you have gamers, you have collectors, you have investors, and even large companies that are taking advantage of NFT real estate. So the potential virtual land carries is huge. Um, and if we think about what fuels the NFT real estate trend, you have you have um, people can communicate with each other, they can shop, they can earn money, they can socialize, they can do so many things in the virtual world. So that fuels like the demand for virtual real estate. And purchasing NFT real estate is just simple. It's as simple as purchasing any NFT, right? You just set up your crypto wallet, you fund your crypto wallet with cryptocurrencies, and then you visit a marketplace which sells virtual real estate. Like OpenSea has some virtual real estates. I'll show you. We can just search for the category and it'll come up. It'll show you which are the projects that are selling virtual real estate. Then you have Decentraland, you have Crypto Voxels. So you can buy virtual land in virtual worlds. And why would this make sense? I actually spoke to one of the NFT collectors. He's retired from banking, and I think he must be in his early 60s. Like, one of the buyers, like you have those HNI, like high net worth individuals as well, who are collectors. I just spoke to him. I was getting some advice for how I could sort of shape my journey within NFT space. And he sort of tends to collect a lot of like he tends to collect like a lot of NFTs around similar themes like empowerment, women, etc. And then he mentioned that his next steps would be to open a woman-centric museum in the metaverse. So you see, so then virtual real estate, he needs a space to host then all his collections, right? So just like trying to give some examples based on my experience and my conversations. So that's about virtual real estate. And then you have fractionalization. So what exactly is fractionalization? We've seen that, we've mentioned a bit about fractionalization earlier as well, but just a little bit more in-depth understanding here. It's the concept of splitting up the ownership of digital assets so that many people can receive the benefits. So as the prices of blue chip NFTs become more expensive and impossible for some to afford, then with fractionalization, you can actually own a part of an NFT, and then you have access to the NFT, which previously you wouldn't have been able to tap into, right? So this adds liquidity and accessibility to a larger base of investors, and it helps the entire industry to an easier participation as in the traditional stock market. You have the exchange traded funds. I think this is sort of a similar concept to that. Um, and an example of a successful fractionalization would be Own the Dodge. So the world's most popular meme on the internet was bought for 4 million by a DAO, and is now one of the most valuable NFTs to be fractionalized. So with dollar Dodge, anyone can own a piece of the internet history for $1. So that's like breaking it down, right? Where is 4 million and where is like $1, right? So that is fractionalization. And then staking. So we have the concept of staking, which is nothing but locking up of NFTs on a platform or protocol to receive staking rewards and other privileges. And this allows NFT holders to earn passive income while still maintaining ownership of NFTs. And this is, I think, similar to some of the yield farming concepts in decentralized finance using cryptocurrencies. I mean, that gets too technical. I have not delved too much into that, but it's similar to those to that concept for those who know what it is. Otherwise we can sort of touch base at a later point, and I'm happy to sort of share feedback from my research on that. But it's similar to yield farming, meaning just another way of generating additional income. And then you have NFT backed loans. NFT backed loans, collateralization lending, they're all NFT lending, they're all the same. So what happens is you use the NFTs as a collateral, right? You have this peer-to-peer site, which is called NFTFi, I think, and it said it handled about 88 million in NFT backed loans in the first 3 months of this year, and which is more than double what it handled the whole of last year. And you have another NFT lending platform, which is called Arcade, which has sort of published saying that it's helped disperse around 24 million loans since it started up in Jan this year. So if you actually combine NFT staking, lending, renting, collateralization, etc., you can potentially create some exciting revenue streams for your previously illiquid NFTs. So the whole goal of all of these applications is to enhance liquidity and allow users to access more capital to be able to spend on some more of the decentralized finance protocols and other blockchain services. So NFT lending offers the potential of charging interest rates that far exceed traditional loans. So there must be some benefit of doing this as well, right? Because NFTs are quite volatile. You know that they're chunky, liquid, and they're volatile. So then what is the benefit? The benefit is because risks are more, the rewards are higher. So you're able to charge higher interest rates than most traditional loans. So Arcade CEO, Gabe Frank, he said that the average annual interest rate for loans transacted on the website could, I mean, it depends on the duration of the loan, of course, but it's about 20%. 20% is the interest rate you will get. So, I mean, that is just for some context, right? So I guess that's it on the applications. And I just want to, before we do the live minting, I wanted to discuss some points to note, right? So I put together a slide with a link to a comprehensive YouTube tutorial. So this takes you through an opening of MetaMask wallet, because when I show you from my browser, like, because it's not the first time, right? There are some features that you will be able to see only if it's a new wallet that's being created. So just so it's sort of for better context, I've just included this link. It's I think probably 30 minutes, 20 minutes, but it's very comprehensive. It covers all the steps. And then you have some points to note on opening a profile on OpenSea, and as well as like how to be prepared in terms of your content before you upload and you mint your NFT. So hope you find this useful. And in today's session, live minting session, I will be using a MetaMask wallet for a non-custodial wallet, and then OpenSea as the NFT marketplace of choice. And I will be using Ethereum blockchain simply because I don't have any other cryptos in my wallet. I have only Ether. So and then I will be using an image as opposed to like a video or an audio clipping. So I'll be using an image or sort of a digital image of my physical artwork for the demo, and that's the one that's here, which is titled Sunrise Quadrant. You have a few lines of description, because it will ask you for description, etc. And when we do the minting, I'll show you that, how I have collections and which one this will go under. Just some thoughts on how to organize your NFT, your OpenSea profile. And then last point of discussion before we dive into the live minting is the one on gas fees. So this is important because it's a bit of like a debate. Like, people love discussing about this and how more or less it is, etc. But just some high level overview, and then we'll dive into the live session. So what exactly are gas fees? We saw this briefly in part 1, but I'm just covering it again because when you sort of click on, when you try to list your item, it'll ask you to initialize your wallet, and it will take 2.5% or whatever is the gas fee, depending on the time of the day or the day itself. So what are gas fees? Gas fees are basically transaction fees that you pay to miners on Ethereum who process and confirm transactions. So OpenSea does not take, it's not a payment that you make to OpenSea itself, right? So it's not able to refund these the expenses. It goes to the miners of the blockchain for putting these or processing these transactions and creating a record within the blockchain. So and OpenSea obviously does not control the gas price, nor does it profit from them. Like you say, it has nothing to do with the marketplace. It has everything to do with the blockchain itself. And then you have different types of gas fees. You have 2 categories. You have one-time fees, and then you have recurring fees. So today, if you're doing it for the first time, you'll face a one-time fee, and then subsequently you have recurring fee if you're doing A, B, C, D sort of actions, and then there are some gas fee free actions as well, which we will be exploring. So the first one is account registration fees, right? So if you've never sold an NFT using OpenSea before, you'll need to pay an account initialization fee before you can list it on Ethereum. And the cost of this account initialization, it will vary. It depends on the Ethereum network congestion at that point in time. So I believe I read somewhere, it was very interesting. If you mint on Tuesdays or Saturdays, Tuesdays or Thursdays, I think it's highest gas fees. And then there are specific times of the day as well when it's likely to be lower or higher. So, if you're very savvy and you've been a player in the market for a while, then you will understand these dynamics, and you'll be able to minimize your gas fees. But there are also some gas free actions, like in my case, right? If you look into the left hand corner, you see a list of gas free actions. So I basically create a collection. So I've linked my wallet, but it doesn't actually take the gas fees because these are gas free actions. So I create a wallet, I list my NFTs at a fixed price. So these 2 actions, they don't consume gas fees. So for me, I paid the one-time fees, and then I haven't yet paid another gas fees, if that makes sense. So I think these are the points that I wanted to walk you through before we move into the live minting. So unless anybody has any questions, are we okay to move into the live demo? Okay, so can you see my screen? I think it's okay,
Yes,
right?
perfect.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Thanks, Susan. Okay, so if you, I mean, this is my profile. If you click on the profile, it'll tell you the wallet address. So, you know, if you like, any wallet has two keys. You have a public key and you have a private key. Private key is your password, right? Or it is what it's like the 12 set of words that don't make sense at all, like I mentioned. But the public key is the wallet address that anybody can see. So this wallet address is the address of my MetaMask wallet. So it'll show it'll give you that address, and normally it's impossible to, like, you know, go digit by digit. So if you place your cursor over there, it says copy. So if you want to copy this or whatever, you just need to click there and then see it said copied if you do that. So that's the my profile is attached to that MetaMask wallet. Anything I transact, any payments or credits will come into this, and this is the hot wallet that we discussed. And I joined in November 21. Like I said, I minted them in October, November, over a period of time. And it'll ask you for a brief description. So I've said I'm a thematic artist based in London, working in different mediums. And then I've linked each of my website. If you click there, it'll take you to my website. And then back there, if you click there, it takes you to my Instagram profile, my Twitter, etc. So if you look at the summary here, it says I've collected 26, but I've created 27. So this actually means I've sold one, right? I hope that makes sense. And then I have favorited 3. Like, I'm not very active. I need to get a bit more active. Only then perhaps I'll sell more of my NFTs. But I've favorited 3. So it gives you a summary of, you know, each of your actions. And then it tells you how many items you have and how many you've sort of sold. So that's the difference between your created and your collected. So these are all the individual items. But if you go into my profile and you say collections, so I have 3 collections. So um, basically what happened is I decided I'm a thematic artist early this year, but I minted the NFTs late last year. So these should have been Crypto Quest. If you go into my website, you will see that each of it is soliloquy, freedom, rebirth. So these are the themes that I've worked on. So each of this theme has different paintings under it. So here it should have been Crypto Quest, but you know, I'm evolving as well as I go along. So I'm learning. So this is just for you to think through, right? How you want to present it. So I have like a set of paintings under each of these. So then there are separate steps for you to create a collection. Like if you click on this, it says create a collection. And when you try doing anything in terms of creating or minting, it will ask you to link your wallet again, even if you've sort of, it was, you know, connected, but it asks you to connect your MetaMask wallet again. So if you look at my web browser, you can see that there is a icon there, right? So that's the plugin, the Web3 plugin that we were talking about. So when you download MetaMask wallet and you set up and you create, you install the software in your system, you will see the plugin here. So if it's not connected, you can, if you click on it, it'll show you, it'll actually come up, and you can see that mine is already sort of logged in, right? So this is how you create a collection. You need a logo, you need a featured image. Then, I mean, one of these is kind of, I mean, you don't have to fill in everything, but whichever, the more information you give, the more visible you become. Then you have name, you have a URL to any other sort of link that you want, and then you give a description of what exactly is the collection all about. And then here you give your Discord account if you have, all the social media handles. And then this is the creator earnings, is the royalty. So this is, see, it says 10, right? I mentioned that I had put in 10 for my sort of royalty. So it comes as 10, but it can be anything. It can be 2.5, it can be 5. So this is the third reason I said why NFTs for me, right? So that is the royalty income. And then I'm choosing Ethereum only because I have like Ether in my wallet. I don't have other cryptocurrencies, but you can choose other. If you go here, you have Polygon, you have Solana, etc. So I think for me it's disabled because I have I believe my MetaMask wallet has only Ethereum, and I think Polygon is sort of a secondary sort of blockchain which is linked to Ethereum. So that's why these two are highlighted, whereas these two are sort of disabled for me. And then that's it. You go and create a collection. So I'm not showing you how to. I mean, I'm just showing you what it takes. So you need to be prepared every time you actually get started. You need to have all of this so you can get it done smoothly, like in 10 minutes or whatever. So that is creating a collection. But if you create an item like we are going to be doing now, let me show you how this is done, and then we can go and browse OpenSea for a bit to understand the different categories, different artists, the summary that I mentioned, etc. Right? So here I have this image that I'm going to mint, and I've called it, if you go back into the slides, I've called it Sunrise Quadrant. And then, so I think this is what it wants. It's asking for an external link. So I go there and say, and then provide a description. It's just handy that it's here. I copy paste it. Makes my life easier, I think. Yeah. And then see, because I have a set of collections, right? It appears here and it says, this is the collection where your item will appear. But if you do not have collections, I don't think this will appear, or perhaps this will be disabled, right? So for me, this painting is under the theme of rebirth. So I'm creating it under rebirth. And then, I mean, you could, this is out of curiosity, you can just like add, I mean, I don't use this. You can add properties. These are just like textual traits that show up as rectangles, which I don't really understand their purpose. So you have some of these features which I don't use. You have levels, you have stats, but then I use unlockable content. So unlockable content is where I tell people that they can actually reach out to me to get like the physical artwork itself sent to them. So I would say, please email cgayasart@gmail.com to collect your physical artwork, which is a stretched canvas with painted sides, meaning no framing required unless and until the person wants to frame it. Despite that, so I'm just going to give the size and say it's 16 by 12. So yes, and then so that's it. And then I mean, if it's a sensitive content or whatever, you can click here. It'll tell you what exactly is a sensitive content, but this is not sensitive. So we leave it at that. And then we say the supply of items that can be minted is 1. So this, if you can see, right, I'm trying to click in there, but you can't change, you can't change it because that's the whole concept of, that's the whole concept of an NFT, right? Each NFT is 1 in supply, and that's why it's unique and it's rare. So that is, that's the supply of 1 all about. And this is going to be in Ethereum. Like we just mentioned, it's not showing Clayton and Solana because I don't have them in my wallet. I have only Ethereum. So I'm going to stick with Ethereum. And then there's this thing about freezing metadata, which it actually allows you to permanently lock and store the items content in the file storage on the blockchain. So this automatically happens. You don't have to do anything, you just have to create the item. So I'm just saying create, and it asks me to confirm that I'm not a robo, which I've done. So now it says it's actually created the item, right? And then, but there are 2 steps. So creating it is the first step, and then you need to click on sell. Otherwise, it wouldn't get listed for sale. So the gas fees, if you're doing it for the first time, will happen only if you click on sell and list it for selling. If you've just created it like this, it will not take payment away from your wallet. Just see, when I click on sell, it'll link my it'll ask me for an amount. Let me say it's 0.15. I mean, that's just random, right? Pricing is just each sort of creator's idea of how much the piece is worth. And I've just said 6 months. It'll keep it open for 6 months, and then it'll come up for relisting. After 6 months, if you haven't sold it based on the fixed price, it will prompt you to relist it. It'll not be listed for sale. It'll move back into the first step where we've created it, but you had to click on the sell, right? It'll go back into that sort of phase. And then I'm saying complete listing. So when I do that, it should ask me to click on my, yeah. So it is asking me to link my wallet. So I just go down and say sign. It wouldn't take any money from my wallet yet because I've created a collection. Remember, there were a few gas free actions that we saw, right? I've created it as part of a collection, and I've also used a fixed pricing as opposed to a bidding. So there are ways to not do the fixed price. I probably should have shown it, but it's just easy. Next time you do a item, you create an item, you click on sell, then it'll ask you if it's a fixed price or if you want to bid it. And then for a bidding, you will have a flow price. So people will submit their bids that are over and above the flow price, and then whoever is the highest bidder after the bidding period, that person gets the NFT that you've essentially sold. So I guess that's it. And I'm just realizing that we have maybe 8 minutes left. So I don't know if Susan wants to ask any questions now. Anybody, any questions, or should I just go ahead and show how to explore on a NFT marketplace?
Yeah, I think we should do that, Gaia. I mean, it's fascinating what you explained. So first of all, thank you for showing us how to actually do it in practice, because that's what I think we all needed to know and find out how it works. So if you can, yes, share with us, how the marketplace looks like and how to market your art, this would be lovely. And then I think we will try to maybe take one or two questions at the end. So we can finish then in 10 minutes. But I think it's super interesting, and I learned so much already, Gaia. So I'm fascinated.
Thanks, Susan. Okay, let's dive in and see. So I have if you go and click on explore, it shows you all of the types, the different categories of NFTs, right? You have all NFTs, which I think will be chaos. If you're a beginner and you click on all NFTs, it's just all over the place. So just focus on your area of interest. For me, like when I browse, I look at art. If you click on art, it'll throw up the most recent sales of art. And art, just to be sure, right? Art, like you have pure digital art, and you have like physical artists like me who sort of upload an image of their physical artwork and convert it into digital art. But there's pure digital art as well. And when I had this conversation with the NFT collector, he told me that, see, Gaia, like NFT first collectors are collectors who only want digital art. Like, I mean, there are two types, but he was more on the digital art side. So he gave me some tips on how I could maybe sketch on a canvas, upload it into a software, and then sort of complete it like digitally. So these are all, like, why I'm explaining that is because if you see all of this, none of this looks like a painting, correct? So these are all digital artworks actually, from perhaps just based on some software like Procreate or some such thing. But if you also sort of take some time and browse like physical artists who are uploading their digital images of paintings, that also is there. So it's a combination. This market is a combination of pure digital art, as well as like graphic designing, etc., as well as like physical artists. So this is how you browse. And then let me show you one of my favorite sort of, I mean, favorite as in I've been following her for a while, and I'm just fascinated by her success. And she started maybe 6 months before me, like from March 2021, I think. And I mean, I'm not in touch with her. I would love to interview her for one of the blog articles for us. But like, look at this. If you go into her profile, it should say that her face is not important. Sorry, actually it should so she's collected 101, right? And she's created 169. Actually, there's somewhere it shows a summary where I need to actually perhaps check how that is done. But I mean, if you know specific artists, then this is how you actually browse. and it shows up exactly what they've done. And so these are all the artworks that she's collected. But if you go into what she's created, then you will see all the artworks that she's created which other people have collected, and she's quite popular. And the NFT collector that I've spoken to specifically collects her artworks as well. So that's how I actually found him, reached out to him on Instagram, and had chats with him. So, I mean, this is quickly on the art, right? Let's look at maybe domain names. If you go into domain names, if you click into Decentraland names, for instance, you will have, so it says here, right? If you click here, there's a summary there. It says there are 34,000 items that this project has actually created in terms of NFTs. There are 13.3 thousand, 13,300 owners, meaning they've made so many sales, which have translated into 903 Ethereum. So if you quickly do a rough math of that, right? 903 Ethereum in today's around 1,002, let's say 1,200, because it's just all over the place. That's around 1 million. So this project has generated income of 1 million from primary sales as well as secondary sales. So this summary is quite interesting, as I feel. And then if you go there, this is just having the term there as millionaire with that background is being sort of sold for 0.006. So I couldn't show you how a bidding is done, right? Because I use fixed prices. So this is how it's done. If you want to buy it, you just click on the place bid and say what's the price you're willing to pay for this, just to own the word millionaire as an NFT, right? So that's how it works. And then let's maybe look at sports. So if you go here, and I don't know if NBA Top Shots will be listed here. There are a lot of Top Shot related fun stuff, but I think an NBA Top Shot again is probably more like a website, like I mentioned, right? The blockchain technology companies that directly sort of use programs and they launch their NFTs into the web. So I think NBA Top Shots is not listed on OpenSea. Sometimes they list here for secondary sales. So I mean, if you go into photography, this is another massive. So if you look at Doppelganger, for instance, again you have the summary there, right? So you can see that they've created almost 2,000 items, and there are 1,000 owners. So and then they've traded a volume of 270 Ethereum, and Ethereum, I think the last I checked a few days ago, it was £1,400, but these days it's all over the place. So I don't know if it's crashed or it's gone down. So that's a lot of money, right? So this is how they make their bucks, I guess. And you have trading cards. So it like OpenSea gives you a brief few lines on what exactly trading cards mean, right? So if you just read that, you get an idea of what it is. Then you have different people who've sort of minted those collections, and then you can go in and then look at, okay, what are these items? Do I like this item? And then you can buy if you like them, or you can just like browse. So this is how you browse, and then you have the summary here. For instance, actually it should give a summary for me as well, but it's for some reason not giving. See, for me there's no summary there, but it should say that I've sold, there are 2 owners, there's like 28 that's created, and stuff like that. So that's all right. I think we have maybe 1 minute, right, to 1. So I'll just probably share a few thoughts on selling NFTs, right? So I've been at this for a few months now, and I understand that unless you're visible, you have social media handles, and you're constantly interacting with like NFT collectors or NFT artists themselves, and you start collecting, you start liking people's artworks and stuff, it's very difficult to sell your NFTs, because it's just that there are so many thousands and thousands of items there. So it's not even about your artwork or how good or bad it is, right? It's more about how visible you are. Because I mean, I just managed to sell one of them, uh, but then I'm realizing that this, you need to be a bit more active. So I've recently opened my Twitter account. I've not gained much traction there, but I have around 15,000 followers on Instagram. So I think it takes time to build this, and I've given myself time until end of the year to make some progress in terms of that, and just being in touch with collectors. So I got feedback on like why that collector wouldn't buy my artwork, because he's like a pure digital only kind of collector. So he says, what's the difference between physical artwork and sort of digital art, right? So that's his idea. But then there are NFT collectors who like sort of having the authenticity of ownership for the physical artwork, because if you have a NFT, um, and you have the physical art underlying that NFT, then it's the original. It's like owning an original artwork of Van Gogh versus the million copies that or prints that other people have, right? So there are different types, and it's just that it's about exploring. It's about seeing what works for each person. So I think I leave open it up to you, Susan, for any questions. I hope I
Fantastic.
managed to cover.
Excellent. I think, thank you so much, Gaia. What a great NFT masterclass, talking us through how to mint NFTs in practice, showing how OpenSea works, how to market your own art, and really sharing so kindly and so openly your experience, how to also protect your wallets. I think all those things which you could learn the hard way, when you lose it. But I think you really help us who are novices sometimes to really do it in a safe way. So thank you very much for that. And so for our audience, if you've got any questions, you can send your questions in by chat, on the right side of your screen. So I will, if I see anyone coming in now, I will read them out to you, Gaia.
Yes.
One question we always get, Gaia, is, for those ones who want to get started, how long does it take? How many hours do you need actually to get going? How is it? Is it a question of a few weeks, or can you do it in a few hours? What would you recommend?
So I would say that, because now it's growing, right? And there's a bit more awareness now than like maybe 1 year or 2 years back. So the way I started is I took a couple of like courses on Udemy, and I was like, it was so new that I had to do the courses 2 or 3 times over because I was like, oh, wait a minute, what is this all about, But now there's like so many sort of free resources. So I would say for kind of newbies, if they want to sort of start making baby steps, so you can always be present in as many marketplaces as you really want, right? But then the first one that you make a start with should ensure smooth experience. Otherwise, you're going to be put off by the whole thing. So I would just recommend MetaMask and OpenSea, and then you can branch out to Rarible, Showtime. So many of them, like the lady that I showed you, right, Soul Curry, that we just saw. She's on Instagram. I follow her. And if you go into her Instagram profile and click on her website, she's listed her NFTs in 8 marketplaces, So that's possible. But I would say choose one which is most popular. And then even after this webinar, if they use the resources and just follow those, the YouTube tutorial for the MetaMask wallet, and then the OpenSea profile, and then you create an item. If it's only one item, it shouldn't take you more than maybe a few hours, or spread over a week or 2 weeks depending on your convenience, like a couple of hours each on the weekend or whatever. But then I would say maybe it's worth researching a little bit more, because then that gives you more comfort. Because if you just follow what I've said, then you don't have a wider understanding. You have a very narrow sort of thing with which you get started. So research for a couple of weeks, and then the more comfortable you get, it shouldn't take you more than a few hours to just get started. Because then it's about how you organize your profile. Like I spoke about collections, I spoke about themes. Like I didn't know back then that actually those 2 collections should have come under Crypto Quest as one of the themes, but that's how it happens, because you learn as you go along, you evolve. So
Makes sense. That's perfect. No, wonderful. So I think what we will do, we will share your slides, Gaia, if you're happy with that, again with all our members to review them in more detail. And of course, they all can reach out to you on Instagram. Gaia, can you just share again, what is your account number or your account name on Instagram for people to follow
let me
you?
just go here, and It's C Gaia's Art, but can you see the profile name there? It says C Gaia's Art, right?
It's on the slides on the screen.
Yeah, sorry, on the
Perfect.
slides as well. On the slides as well, it's there in the
Yes,
in the footer of the slides. So it's
great.
there in the footer of the slides. Yeah.
Great. We will share that, everybody. And then, of course, Guy, you're also on LinkedIn, so people can reach out on LinkedIn to you as well,
Yeah.
and in order to ask any further questions. But with that, thank you so much for a fantastic FinTech Masterclass and for being also our expert in residence for NFTs, which basically will mean for all our members and also our global FinTech Circle community of more than 130,000 people, that Gaia will start a blog post in FinTech Circle online over the next few months to share with you the NFT world, and what's happening in NFTs, how to be involved, how to get engaged and learn and dig deeper, what's coming on with NFTs in the financial world as well. So thank you so much for joining us for this webinar today. Gaia, thank you so much for joining us as a speaker and sharing your knowledge. And I wish you all a lovely afternoon.
And thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.